You could feel the anger tonight at a Board of Trustees meeting in Thornton Township. The board and citizens looking for accountability to their finances, while the township supervisor...
Coming in, unfortunately, we knew it was going to be a little messy, but it's just something we felt important that had to be done, that should be done. But like I said,
Here's the latest buzz from Dolton, Illinois, and it's a story you won't want to miss. Picture this: a small suburban town, a controversial mayor, and a betrayal that has everyone talking. Yes, we're diving deep into the intense drama between Mayor Tiffany Henyard and her former assistant, Carmen Carlisle. It's a story filled with betrayal, corruption, and, believe it or not, a possible assassination plot.
Yeah, we've been reporting for nearly 2 years on allegations of corruption surrounding Henyard in her capacity as Dolton mayor and Thornton Township supervisor. And now we've learned from multiple sources that federal agents are in fact interviewing witnesses as part of a possible investigation that may or may not result in charges.
So, who exactly is Carmen Carlisle? Well, Carmen used to be right by Tiffany Henyard's side, working as her assistant and even rising to the position of trustee in Thornton Township. For years, Carmen was known as a close ally of the so-called supermayor, but recently, she made headlines when she turned against Henyard, accusing her of corruption and mismanagement. And it doesn't stop there. Carmen went straight to the feds with a bag full of dirty secrets and damning evidence against Henyard. It's like something straight out of a political thriller.
And we've learned the FBI has been using electronic surveillance as part of its investigation. Agents are asking questions about Henyard's alleged use of taxpayer dollars and resources, including massive spending on out-of-town trips.
Now, here's where things get really dark. Rumors are swirling that an attempt was made on Carmen's life just days after she spoke out. That's right, someone reportedly tried to take Carmen out of the picture. The attack was brutal, leaving her in critical condition. What's more shocking is speculation that Henyard herself might have orchestrated the hit. Yes, you heard that right. There's chatter on the streets that Mayor Henyard hired gang members to eliminate her former confidant turned whistleblower. How's that for a twist?
Who would make a one-day purchase of over $40,000 to Amazon? And the main thing is, what is it?
Let's take a step back and unpack what's been going on. For those who aren't familiar, Tiffany Henyard has been a polarizing figure since she took office in Dolton. She's been dubbed America's worst mayor by some and accused of running a corrupt administration. We're talking misuse of funds, lavish spending, and a general disregard for the town's financial health. Under her watch, Dolton's budget reportedly went from a surplus of $5.61 million in 2022 to a shocking deficit of $3.65 million by May 2024.
Late last year without any approval from the village board. So now Robert Collins has filed a lawsuit against the village, and tonight he's talking exclusively to...
And it doesn't stop there. Former Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot, who was hired to investigate Henyard's spending, disclosed that she spent tens of thousands of dollars on the village credit card at Amazon, Target, Walgreens, Wayfair, and other retailers. One day, Henyard dropped a whopping $33,000 on Amazon alone. Can you believe that? But why is Carmen such a threat to Tiffany Henyard? Why would Henyard go so far as to allegedly hire criminals to silence her? The answer lies in Carmen's intimate knowledge of Henyard's alleged wrongdoings. See, Carmen wasn't just any assistant. She was Tiffany's right-hand woman. She was in the room when the decisions were made, saw the credit card statements, and witnessed the questionable transactions firsthand. For years, Carmen stayed loyal, perhaps even complicit, as the mayor allegedly abused her power and bled the town dry. But something changed. Maybe it was the FBI's mounting investigation, or perhaps Carmen saw the writing on the wall. Either way, she decided to flip.
No, sir.
You didn't go to Las Vegas? What is that?
No comment.
And flip, she did. Carmen didn't just spill the beans. She brought the whole pot to boil. In a dramatic turn of events, Carmen released a statement accusing Henyard of unethical and predatory behavior. She claimed that Henyard manipulated employees, vendors, and residents, using her position to enrich herself at the expense of Dolton and Thornton Township. For the past 2 years, Henyard has manipulated employees, vendors, and residents, using her position to increase her influence, all while projecting a false image of success, she said. Talk about a drop. But the real bombshell came when Carmen provided evidence to the feds. Sources say she handed over documents and recordings that could prove Henyard's involvement in a range of illegal activities, from embezzling public funds to using police officers as her private security detail for personal errands. This isn't just some petty office drama. This is serious business, folks. And it seems like Henyard knows it.
Is there a motion to terminate Keith Freeman?
Henyard's fear of Carmen isn't just about a tarnished reputation or losing her job. It's about survival. The stakes couldn't be higher. If Carmen's claims are validated, Henyard could be facing multiple felony charges, financial ruin, and possibly jail time. And let's be real, Henyard isn't the type to go down without a fight. According to insider whispers, she's been scrambling to discredit Carmen, painting her as a disgruntled ex-employee looking to save her own skin.
I think you should pay everybody. Is it a reason why you guys are not paying whatever that vendor is?
What was it for?
It was for shirts. That's what it's for. You just asked me.
You have an invoice?
In a public meeting, Henyard reportedly called her former assistant Lion Carlisle, accusing her of fabricating stories to make herself look like a hero. "I'm tired of everyone in here. There always has to be a show," Henyard snapped. But the more she talks, the more suspicious her actions appear. And speaking of suspicious actions, let's circle back to that alleged assassination plot. It might sound like a scene from a gangster movie, but there's more to it than meets the eye. Reports are suggesting that just days after Carmen blew the whistle, she was attacked outside her home. Eyewitnesses claim they saw 2 masked men fleeing the scene. And here's where it gets really juicy. One of the suspects is rumored to have connections to a local gang that Henyard allegedly has ties to. Could this be a coincidence, or is there something more sinister at play?
Several new developments in South Suburban Dolton today. First, the state comptroller has suspended some payments to the village because it has failed to follow the law by providing financial reports. That was just...
Now let's add a bit more spice to this already fiery mix. This isn't the first time Henyard has been linked to criminal activity. Remember that snowstorm incident where Henyard showed up at Valeria Stubbs' house shoveling snow while mocking her? It was a power move straight out of a mafia playbook. This is what it looks like when you pull up on your haters, Henyard boasted in a video she posted online. And if that wasn't enough, there's also that bizarre incident where Henyard allegedly orchestrated a caravan of police and city workers to intimidate another critic who dared to call her out in public. Clearly, this is a woman who doesn't shy away from confrontation.
One way that the government always does it is to go and investigate people around her, and that's what they're doing here.
But it goes even deeper. Henyard's alleged involvement with criminals is not just about intimidation and theatrics. There have been other reports of her using her position to retaliate against business owners who refuse to play by her rules. Take the case of Lawrence Gardner, a local business owner who claims his trucking business was shuttered after he refused to make a political contribution to Henyard's campaign. Gardner even said the FBI had approached him for information about Henyard, indicating that the feds are taking these allegations seriously. The FBI came out and went to talk to me, and I gave them all the paperwork that I had, Gardner said. And now, with Carmen's life hanging by a thread, the heat is turning up on Henyard like never before. So what's next for Dolton's drama-filled saga? Is Tiffany Henyard finally on the ropes? Or does she have more tricks up her sleeve? With Carmen's shocking accusations and the rumors of an attempted hit on her life, it seems the noose is tightening around Henyard's neck. And let's not forget, the feds are already deep into their investigation. They've served subpoenas, collected evidence, and are likely watching every move Henyard makes. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. Before we dive into the next chapter of this unfolding scandal, let's take a moment to consider what's at stake here. Dolton, a town that once thrived, is now on the brink of financial collapse. The general fund is in the red, public services are dwindling, and the trust in local governance is shattered.
Tiffany Henyard and her entourage racked up more than $67,000 in travel-related charges in just 5 months.
The people of Dolton are angry, frustrated, and desperate for justice. They want answers, and more importantly, they want accountability. And it looks like they might just get it. The question on everyone's mind is simple. How did one person single-handedly bankrupt a town and plunge it into a vortex of corruption, all while living it up like a queen? To understand how Tiffany Henyard has managed to hold on to her power despite the mounting allegations against her, we need to delve into her past and present, examining the intricate web of deceit she's allegedly woven. This is a woman who seems to thrive in the murky waters of controversy, using every tool at her disposal to stay on top. Her time as mayor of Dolton has been anything but ordinary. From accusations of embezzlement and corruption to allegations of using village funds for personal expenses, Henyard's administration reads like a laundry list of misdeeds.
What I think is interesting about this case, this story, is you can be highly legal and unethical at the same time.
One thing that stands out about Henyard's tenure is her ability to manipulate and intimidate. She's been accused of turning Dolton into her personal fiefdom, where dissent is swiftly crushed and loyalty is rewarded, often with taxpayer money. Let's talk about that lavish lifestyle for a minute. Under her leadership, Dolton's budget didn't just get tight. It spiraled out of control. Reports have shown that while the town's infrastructure crumbled and basic services were cut back, Henyard was busy splurging on first-class travel, luxury hotels, and even personal photographers. Imagine this, a town of 20,000 people struggling to make ends meet, while their mayor racks up tens of thousands of dollars in expenses on a single trip to New York City.
It relates to with credit cards. As you heard me speak today in my board meeting about, I do not handle that.
Some of those charges are for you, though.
No, sir.
You didn't go to Las Vegas?
Mm.
What is that?
No comment.
We're talking stays at the Marriott Marquis in Times Square and meals at high-end restaurants, all on the taxpayer's dime. And who could forget that infamous $43,000 shopping spree on Amazon in just one day? You have to wonder what exactly she was buying that cost so much. But it doesn't stop there. Henyard also managed to double her income by holding 2 elected positions simultaneously, mayor of Dolton and supervisor of Thornton Township. Together, these roles brought her a hefty salary of nearly $300,000, more than even the state's governor.
Very appreciative to receive the information today. We have the best mayor ever. I've been here since 1993. And she's the best we ever had.
You know, you're doing a lot of programs, good programs for the, the senior citizens. And you're doing a lot of programs for, people who are on a fixed budget. Mm-hmm. But what about the people, the blue-collar people who are still carrying this, this town?
And as if that wasn't enough, she has been known to use village funds to promote herself through billboards plastered across the town, giving the impression that she's a beloved leader when, in reality, her support seems to be rapidly dwindling. Now, let's not forget the police security detail. Under Henyard's orders, the police force that should have been protecting the community was instead assigned to her personal service. Reports have shown officers being pulled from their regular duties to chauffeur Henyard around town, even on personal errands.
Lack of transparency about the bills and credit cards. Tonight, Henyard did not specifically mention Washington, but in her last comments, she did address budgets for travel.
You know we have a budget for travel. I can't stand up and just put all that out there so bad for travel. And you should FOIA other cities, other villages.
And it wasn't just a couple of officers. Sometimes it was entire squads. This misuse of public resources didn't come cheap. The overtime costs alone soared, with some officers reportedly earning more in overtime than their base salaries. One officer earned over $114,000 in overtime, more than double his regular salary. And all this while crime rates in Dolton continued to climb and residents cried out for more police presence on the streets. It's clear that Henyard has a knack for using her position to her advantage, but it's her connections to the underworld that are truly alarming. There are whispers, unconfirmed of course, that Henyard has long-standing ties with local gangs. Remember the attack on Carmen Carlisle? Some speculate that Henyard may have used her connections to hire gang members for that hit.
And with more, Nate.
That's right, John and Terrence. Tonight's meeting had a much different tone than what we've experienced previously at Dolton City Council meetings. Now, the room was full of Henyard supporters, and they wanted me to be sure to tell you that they applauded for her several times as she talked about the township being in a great place financially. Thornton Township Supervisor Tiffany Henyard.
It sounds like a page from a crime novel, but in Dolton, this seems to be the new normal. And it's not the first time she's been linked to shady dealings. There are rumors that she's been involved in other violent incidents, including an alleged attack on a political rival who dared to challenge her authority. So why hasn't she been stopped yet? Why is Henyard still sitting in the mayor's office, calling the shots? The answer lies partly in her ability to create chaos and confusion, effectively paralyzing those who oppose her. Take the Dolton Village Board, for example. The trustees have repeatedly tried to rein in Henyard's excesses, passing measures to limit her spending and calling for audits of the town's finances. But Henyard has met each move with a veto or a countermeasure, often calling special meetings to overturn board decisions or appointing new officials without proper authority. It's a game of political chess, and Henyard always seems to be one step ahead. But the walls are closing in. The FBI is now heavily involved, investigating everything from financial mismanagement to possible criminal activities. 2 federal subpoenas have been issued, demanding records from Henyard's office and her top aide, Keith Freeman, who has also been charged with bankruptcy fraud. The feds are leaving no stone unturned, and their investigation is widening by the day.
They'll turn up more and more information. They'll turn up more leads. They may turn up more witnesses. They may find a cooperator. They may find an informant, all which will benefit the investigation tremendously.
But based on what we know now, if you're Tiffany Henyard, how are you feeling?
I would be nervous.
They're looking into everything: village contacts, credit card statements, expense reports, even Henyard's personal ties to local businesses. And with each new revelation, the picture of Henyard's corrupt empire becomes clearer. Even former Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot has been brought into the mix as a special investigator. She's been tasked with getting to the bottom of Dolton's financial woes, and her preliminary findings are damning. According to Lightfoot, not only is Dolton's general fund in the red, but there's also been a massive spike in police overtime costs and questionable expenses on the village's credit cards. These are somebody using the credit card and charging these amounts using your tax dollars, Lightfoot told Dolton residents, adding fuel to the fire that's already burning hot against Henyard.
We reached out to the FBI, which said it is policy for the agency not to comment on the nature, existence, or non-existence of any investigation that may be occurring. A public relations firm responded on behalf of the mayor, saying neither Henyard or the village of Dolton have received any subpoenas or been contacted by the FBI or any other law enforcement agency.
The people of Dolton aren't just angry. They're furious. The town's financial collapse has hit everyone hard, and residents are demanding answers. Public meetings have turned into shouting matches, with citizens calling for Henyard's resignation and even her arrest. This is a disgrace, what you have done to this village. They say that you're the worst mayor in America. I agree, shouted one resident at a recent town hall. The outrage is palpable, and it's not just coming from a vocal minority. Across social media and local news, the cry is the same. Henyard has to go. But Henyard seems undeterred. She's doubling down, portraying herself as a victim of a political witch hunt. You guys are following a fiction, made-up story, she said in a defiant public address. But this isn't just about bad press. It's about real consequences. The Illinois State Comptroller has already taken drastic measures by withholding funds from Dolton due to Henyard's refusal to comply with state transparency laws. The village stands to lose hundreds of thousands of dollars if Henyard doesn't change course. Money that's desperately needed to keep basic services running. So, what's next for Tiffany Henyard? With the feds closing in, the state turning up the heat, and her former allies turning against her, it looks like she's running out of options.
All I can tell you is that I'm not the one on anything. That's the only thing I can tell you right now. So I'm just trying to answer to the...
So you're saying there's a foundation that's not registered, but it has nothing to do with you?
Correct. That's true.
Okay.
That's
so you're not aware of any of the work that they've done, money that they've raised, anything along those lines?
Correct.
But if there's one thing we've learned from watching her over the past few years, it's that she's a fighter. She's not going to go down without a fight. And she's proven time and time again that she's willing to do whatever it takes to hold on to power. And let's not forget the other players in this drama. Carmen Carlisle may be down, but she's not out. If she recovers, she could be the key witness that finally brings Henyard's reign to an end. But there are others too, former allies, disgruntled employees, and even members of Henyard's own administration who are starting to speak out. The pressure is building, and it's only a matter of time before something gives. In the meantime, the people of Dolton are left to pick up the pieces. They're the ones who have to deal with the fallout from Henyard's alleged mismanagement and corruption. They're the ones who have to live with the consequences of a town that's been run into the ground.
You don't know if you were in Las Vegas?
Of course I do.
Were you?
It's not paid by them.
Did you fly first class to Las Vegas?
Any other questions?
But they're also the ones who have the power to change things. As more and more people come forward, demanding accountability and transparency, the tide seems to be turning. The question is, will it be enough to finally bring an end to Tiffany Henyard's controversial tenure? And what about Henyard's connections to the criminal world? Are these just rumors, or is there more to the story? As the investigations continue, more details are sure to emerge. But one thing is clear, Dolton's residents are not backing down. They're demanding justice, and they're not going to stop until they get it. So, what do you think? Is Tiffany Henyard really the super mayor she claims to be, or is she just another corrupt politician who's finally been caught in her own web? And what about Carmen Carlisle? And what about Carmen Carlisle, hero or opportunist? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Until next time, stay tuned and stay curious.